life. Never mixed a dog in my life, not ever. So, I just used stud books, and I started with American Pit Bull Terrier paperwork. It's never changed. I've never had a piece of paperwork for an American Bully. I've never had that. So if I said I had American Bullies, I'd be lying. I've never in my life had that paperwork. To this day, I don't have that paperwork. So, what my knowledge is on Whopper dogs, I'll just keep it to, if you want to learn about Whopper, just Google it, man. Go on Google and you can read all about that story. But I'll just fill in a little bit of the blanks for you about what it was really about. That it was really about showmanship. It was really about money. It was really about bringing people to the registry, bringing people to these events. So that's why it was allowed to happen. But they were always registered by them as American Pit Bull Terriers, always. I didn't just sneak in and they'd like to have you think that. That's why, the night before I was on Good Morning America, I seen the post from them. That was like, Hulk's not registered. Yeah, well, yeah, technically they were right. Let me tell you this story right quick. Technically they were right because at the time, the UKC had just opened up, single registration, right? And years ago I declined to go to the UKC. I don't know why, I just didn't, I was going to register general, but I just never did it. And then they closed down their single registration for a while. Then they opened it back up. I decided to just go ahead quick and get general registered, Zion, Gianna. I had just got Ghostface at the time, so I had his paperwork, signed over to me. I don't know if you know about dogs, but basically when you purchase a dog, you sign it over like a title to a car, basically. So the proof that I owned the dog was there. So I submitted all of these papers to the UKC, all my paperwork, legit paperwork. And this was years before. This was long before anything had ever happened, long before any of this fame had ever come. And please believe it had never happened, none of this would have ever happened. So, anyways, basically, like I said, I submit all those paperwork to the UKC, so then all the dogs were UKC, so his parents were UKC registered. And then I still had this signed piece of paper that I needed to mail to the and I just didn't, simply because I just was busy and I forgot lots of times. So I just didn't happen to mail this paper in. If I had mailed it in months prior to when this happened, this would have never happened, and they wouldn't have actually even had a leg to stand on to come out with a statement like that, which at the time technically it was true. But what they failed to mention was that 95% of his parents are registered clean and clear through them. Right? So whether they changed all their standards, whatever they did now, I don't follow them, I don't keep up with that. But whatever happened now, that was the case. I'm talking literally every single dog in my house. I don't have any dogs. At the time, I didn't have any dogs that were only UKC aside from Fessa. None. They were all. So to say that Hulk wouldn't be registered unless all this fame stuff happened is insane. It would have been simple. It would have been just another day. They were well aware of these big dogs and these dogs being around. They just didn't want the world to understand that, right? So, I called them up. I called them out on it. I had a long conversation with them. Basically, and to be honest, to this day, extremely rude to me on the phone. I just didn't appreciate it. It was like they treated me like I was a bad person. Like I did something personally to them, when in reality, I held back a lot of things that I wanted to say because of my respect that I had for the registries, and that I knew that their phones were going to ring more inside of the next week or days than they probably ever rang since existence. You're talking being viewed by, almost 300-400 million people inside of, 48 hours, when this was all happening. So, it was like insanity. Like it was an epidemic. We'll get into more of how it's so deeply changed my life. But, at the time, that's why. So, they obviously felt the need to come out and defend themselves, and try to claim that he wasn't a part of their organization, although his whole family was. And I have general DNA through them, and knowledge DNA through them, and I DNA any other dog that they ever wanted DNA on, So, they just came out to defend themselves. And, then what happened after that, I really think is sad, how it happened, because like I just said, the story with, Edgar Eddington and that whole story about Whopper, they then came out with a statement basically that blamed the dead man who can't come out and defend himself. They come out with this, Dog World was based on a handshake, and if he lied, basically we never knew about it type thing. Like just a terrible like try to get out of it type thing. Because they always want to be the clean and clear nose high in the air. We're the perfect standard registry. Like, that's why they rushed and changed everything around and told everybody they had like bull pit terriers or whatever they're calling it. I don't know. I didn't keep up with all that, right? Because I don't care about that. The news for what I'm doing will come up. And like I said, I have absolutely zero problems with the UKC because, we're organizations that understand each other. Plain and simple, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything that everybody else, I did everything the same way. I did nothing differently. Nothing. Just promotion. In terms of how I bred my dogs just like everybody else. There's the world doesn't know that there's multiple dogs, 150, 140, 130, 120, 110 registered dogs, through all these kennel clubs as American Pit Bull Terriers. They're all out there. Hulk just became the most famous one. He's obviously bigger than 150 pounds. He has a little bit of a size factor there. But at the same time, I never said, aside from YouTube titles, I never said that, he was the biggest when people asked me. I said that he was top 3. Because I exist inside the dog world, and I didn't even have to say that. I could go out, I could have said he is the biggest. I could have just went with that. I'm not going to sit here and, pump out the other people that are there. That's not my job. But, I kept it real that, he's top 3. Top 3, and he's the youngest. Because I'll always keep it real. When people want to be out there like I'm out here, both people. That's not my thing. Man, anybody knows me for real knows that, what's going to come out of my mouth is going to be 100. So I keep it that way.
How do you handle